Hello everyone. I just made some tea and I brought over the tea to show you because this is my new favorite tea and it's putting me in the holiday spirit and I am obsessed with it. This is the Republic of Tea. It's the peppermint bark. So this is like a green tea with peppermint, rooibos, and cacao. But today I wanted to do a little get ready with me / Q&A, get to know me. I feel like I haven't just sat and chat on YouTube and chatted with all of you guys in a while. I feel like I share bits and pieces throughout like Instagram, podcast here, but recently, honestly, it's just been a bit of a struggle to vlog and share my life. My mental health is a bit low and anxiety is pretty high, and I don't know whether it's just seasonal depression. Been a bit of a struggle to feel creative, to feel motivated, to just kind of really enjoy and like soak up life. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of rolling through the moments on autopilot a lot of the time, which isn't the best feeling. And I did honestly have a very anxious night a couple nights ago that did progress into a sort of full-on anxiety attack. Those are not comfortable, and it just kind of made me realize that something isn't balanced right now. Like whenever those moments happen, just try to always see those moments as like, okay, this is my body telling me that something's off, something's not balanced. So maybe I need to take a step back and really prioritize myself and my self-care. And so as much as I don't want those moments and they're uncomfortable, of course, like nobody enjoys experiencing anxiety and panic attacks, but it's a real part of anyone who struggles with their mental health or specifically struggles with anxiety or panic disorder and stuff like that. So I feel you, I hear you, you're not alone. The past few days I've just been really tuning into what I need, living a lot more slowly, trying to do things more slowly and not be so chaotic with like everything I do. It's like my default is like stressed. So I'm trying to work on changing what my default is, you know? Now that I've yapped on about my mental health and my anxiety, let's get to your questions after I take one more sip of tea. I have my makeup bag here from Say Beauty. I have your questions here. The first question says, how did you decide what you want to do post-grad and how has it been? So for context, I graduated college in May 2023. So over a year ago now, because it's November 2024. I feel like I always knew what I was interested in and still do now. Like I know what I like and I know what I'm good at. I know what I enjoy doing, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with that. I guess for me, I studied graphic design and architecture. So I knew that I wanted to be creative no matter what. And also throughout college, I started my YouTube, I started my Instagram. So content creation became a big passion of mine as well. So I knew I didn't want to do this full time. I don't think I ever want to do content creation like full time. I think it would personally just take away the joy for me if it became like a real financial pressure. So that's one thing I guess I ruled out and was like, okay, I don't really want to pursue that full time necessarily because I still love graphic design and drawing and computer graphics, UX design, all that kind of stuff. I guess to answer the question, I didn't know what I wanted to do post-grad. What I did right away post-grad was literally just continue at the job that I already had while I was in school. I was a retail store manager at a store in Boston, and I just maintained there post-grad because, oh my God, I'm using the wrong brush. Oops. I just stayed at the store post-grad because I knew I didn't want to stay in Boston. I knew I wanted to either move to London or New York. I was like, maybe there's no point in looking for like a whole new job right now when this one is working and it's fine. I knew that wasn't forever, but I definitely did experience what I feel like maybe a lot of people experience, like when you get into something and stay with something, you can start believing that like that's all you can do. And that was a really scary moment, honestly. And I feel like I've learned a lot since working through that. Because I was a retail store manager, I was getting really anxious like a year and a half into it, that I was like, what if I can only do this? Like, what if these are my only skill sets and I'm destined to work in this job for the rest of my life, whether it be this store or a different store? And I don't know, that wasn't like a horrible feeling because I was like, well, I know I'm good at this and it does make money, it's a job. Like, but then equally there was another part of my brain that was like, well, no, you want to do more than just retail. You want to pursue design. You want to use your degree and be creative and connect with people and build communities. I think once I like really defined that for myself after working in a job and like realizing my own limiting mindsets, I kind of was like, okay, maybe that's a sign like I need to get out of this and try something new. Otherwise that limiting mindset will like keep defining me. Overarching answer is I didn't know what I want to do. So many people have no idea what they want to do, but it's just remaining present with yourself and being in tune with your thoughts and your body and how you're feeling about things is key, and that's what's going to direct you on your path post-grad, is what I believe, and that's what I've experienced so far. Things are going to come into your path that you didn't expect at all, so you can't plan ahead really, which as someone with anxiety, that really stresses me out a lot of the time and causes these panic attacks and anxiety attacks and stuff like that a lot of the time. But you can't plan for everything, but equally by not planning for everything, that means you're open to new and different opportunities that maybe you didn't know would be so wonderful and so great. So that's what I have to say on that. The next question says, tips on navigating the holiday season, coming up with social environments and food. It's end of November now, so very much in holiday seasons, which I love, and I love the festive time of year, but it definitely can come with some stressors around food and families and stuff like that, and I for sure experienced that. A few things I would say as advice on that: honestly, communicate the best you can. I know not every family situation is supportive and open to having those conversations around maybe your boundaries and your needs and just your state of your mental health. But whatever you feel like you can communicate, in my experience, that's always been better than not communicating. At least if you tell someone like, hey, I'm really tired, I'm struggling, like, or do you mind not talking about that? Sometimes they just don't even realize that it's something that triggers you, and they're not trying to be mean or malicious or triggering. They just genuinely didn't know that that was an issue for you. I know that can be really scary and really vulnerable, but I feel like if you can communicate with your family, communicate with people around you, that's what I've done, and that's really helped me. And also just remind yourself that this is a holiday season, it's a holiday time of year. The foods that you eat, the foods that you enjoy, the foods that are going to be around you are going to be different because it's time of year, it's a phase. There's going to be maybe more chocolate, more sweets, more desserts, more warm drinks and cozy meals, and that's all a part of enjoying this time of year. And I think I used to freak out about like, oh, this is different from what I usually eat, so therefore it's bad. But that's just not the case at all. If it's different, that's okay. It's okay to still enjoy and eat those foods and eat all the chocolate and all the sweets and the cozy meals that you want, because it is a phase. They're not going to be here forever. If you want to continue eating them in the summer, sure, that's totally fine as well. But I feel like just shifting my mindset to lean into the difference of foods and the difference in routine rather than kind of pushing up against it has really helped me just like enjoy this time of year so much more. Next question is thoughts on having kids. No time soon at all. I am too young personally. I don't want kids anytime soon. I feel like that would disrupt my life in a negative way, and I'm just financially and emotionally, mentally, physically like just not ready for that. But like I definitely want kids, and I think having a family in the future like really excites me. I also really feel like I want to work so much more on myself, loving myself and loving my body before I go through such kind of, I mean, it's a life-changing experience having a kid, and even just the process of being pregnant, like that freaks me out right now. So yeah, no time soon. I'm also very open to adoption, honestly. I have PCOS as well, so I know that's like not guaranteed that I won't be able to have kids, but it's definitely kind of on my radar as well that my hormones don't work exactly right and smoothly. So we'll see. We'll see, but I'm open to it for sure. Next is, what's your favorite flavor to add to coffee, matcha? What flavors would you want to try? I'm pretty basic. My go-to is probably vanilla or honey and cinnamon in coffee and matcha actually. But some other favorites would be strawberry matcha for sure. That one's like such a fun summery drink. Rose, honestly, I love like rose flavor in coffee. Oh, blueberry matcha too. Blueberry latte too. I would say those are my favorites. Next question is, what are you most proud of from the past year? I would say honestly just like setting up my life in New York and kind of going through the ups and downs of this big life change. I'm coming up on a year on December 1st of living in New York City. Honestly, just so proud of one, doing it. I talked about moving to New York for so long, but actually taking the action and taking the steps isn't easy and can be very overwhelming and has been very overwhelming at times, but I'm really proud that I've been able to come here mostly independently. I mean, I've had my boyfriend and family and my support system, but I've made new friends, I've started new jobs, I've met new people, made new connections, and yeah, I'm doing it all on my own. There's obviously support from friends and other people and social media for sure. I've made so many friends and feel like there's such a wonderful community and support system here, but ultimately day by day, it's just me by myself. Yeah, I'm just really proud that I've been able to do that for myself and show myself that I can move and I can navigate these changes and that everything will be okay. Next question is, what's your biggest piece of advice for someone starting anorexia recovery? So if you're new here, I have been in anorexia recovery since January 2021. I'm coming up on 4 years in recovery, and best piece of advice, I feel like there's so many pieces of advice, but like if I had one, I would probably just say you're never going to feel ready. So stop waiting for a sign or a feeling or something to tell you that you're ready to start recovery. You're never going to feel ready. It's the most uncomfortable, overwhelming, terrifying thing to do if you have been consumed by your eating disorder and by anorexia and by the mental illness. Starting recovery is the opposite of all things that mental illness tells you to do. It's never going to feel comfortable and you're never going to feel ready, but you just have to start even though you don't feel ready. Next question is, how do you deal with black and white mindsets? I do have a whole podcast episode on this, so I will link it down below if you want to listen more in depth about it. I struggle with black and white mindsets a lot, and I honestly have my whole entire life, but I feel like only since like my early 20s have I really noticed kind of the negative side of black and white mindsets. Like throughout high school, I did have black and white mindsets, but it just served me well in a way, like quote unquote. It worked because I just did everything. I told myself, you have to do this, all or nothing. And I just did it all. And I think that's why I sort of broke down in college and spiraled downwards with my mental health, because in high school, I just wasn't paying attention to what I needed and what my boundaries were. And that black and white mindset basically just controlled my life. I guess my biggest piece of advice for dealing with it is just noticing it. I think in high school, like I didn't even notice that it was a black and white mindset. It was just like my thoughts and my brain, and I didn't know anything else. Step one is huge, is just noticing like, okay, this is a black and white mindset. What am I gonna do about it? And then two, sometimes you just have to do opposite action. And that's something I've done a lot in my recovery, is just if that all or nothing voice is telling me like, you have to do this or something horrible will happen, just try doing the complete opposite. It's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna feel scary because it's the opposite of what your brain is kind of telling you to do. But if you do it and you prove to your brain that, okay, I didn't have to think so all or nothing about that, I can do the other option and everything's okay, then that will just slowly kind of rewire that part of your brain to stop thinking so extreme. And I've definitely seen a lot of improvement in many aspects of my life, but there's still many moments where I catch that black and white mindset and it's telling me like, you have to do this or nothing else, you have to do this or everything will be bad. So I try to just kind of calm myself down in those moments and try to tune in. But yeah, it's not easy all the time for sure. The next one says, what are some of my favorite podcasts? And I'll just give you like top ones that I listen to. I love Note to Self by Peyton Sarton. Ava Jules is on my mind. It's really cute and fun. I love Melissa Wood Health, her podcast. Real Pod with Victoria Garrick is another great one. I mean, Anything Goes by Emma Chamberlain, like I listen to occasionally, but I'm not like every episode I listen to it. Lexi Hidalgo, the Moments podcast. I really like that one too. Those I would say are my top podcasts. Next question says, was it hard to have a boyfriend and bring in recovery? Yes and no. I say yes and no because yes, it was difficult to navigate and open up and be vulnerable with him at the beginning. I feel like there were many moments I tried to explain my thoughts and how I was really struggling with an eating disorder without really knowing it was an eating disorder. And then I say no because he was my boyfriend and he supported me, and I feel so beyond grateful to have found someone who chose to love and support me through such a low moment in my life. So in that way, it wasn't difficult. If anything, it made the experience more enjoyable because I wasn't completely alone. And I know regardless, even if I didn't have a boyfriend, I wouldn't have been alone. I know that my family and, support system that I built, therapists, nutritionists. But the difficult parts definitely were like opening up about it and trying to communicate what I need to him, because he didn't intuitively know how to help me. He had never really, been with someone who had struggled so strongly with an eating disorder, and he'd never been with someone who'd embarked on a recovery journey. So it was a whole new experience for both sides. And I think at times navigating it, we both didn't know what each other needed. We didn't know how to best help each other. And those moments were the hardest because we just didn't know. And therefore it would either turn into a fight or miscommunication, or I would feel extremely triggered and he would feel bad because he didn't know. And yeah, so it's definitely difficult, but I couldn't have asked for a better partner to help me through this period. And I feel like as much as it brought a lot of hardships and challenging moments, we've overall grown so much as people in the relationship. And through my recovery, I've grown so much, and being able to do that with him by my side, it's just a really special experience that I'm really grateful for. So it had, good and bad moments. A few more questions. What's your favorite and least favorite parts about working from home? For context, I started a new job after that retail job I was talking about in February this year, and it's 100% remote. The team is pretty small, and so we all just work from home. And that was definitely a shock to my routine, trying to figure out and navigate like going from a really intensive in-person job in a busy retail store to spending all day alone in my apartment on my computer, basically. It was definitely a shift in routine, but honestly, I love it. And I don't think I will ever go back to that intense of an in-person job. Maybe a hybrid job I'd be open to, I don't know, but I feel like I love the flexibility of being able to build my own schedule. Some days I am a night owl, I'm not gonna lie, and I do my work way better later in the day. I love that I have that flexibility, that if I need to push some of my work till later, because that's when I'm more productive, I do. But I'm also trying to work on like not working late at night and fixing my sleep schedule. So I don't know, I guess that's a pro and a con all in one, because it's a pro that I can have the choice to work when I'm most productive, but it's also a con in that like I've struggled to build my own routine and build structure and build boundaries about work, because there isn't like a clear cutoff time, like work is over now, this is me time, because it's all just within the same space and there's no set schedule for when I need to do things. Of course, there's deadlines and calls that I need to make, and I do have a schedule, but it's just a very different structure from like a typical in-person 9-to-5 job. Next question is, do you think it's possible to have a social life while also being in school and working? It is definitely not easy to navigate, and there were times where I definitely didn't see a lot of friends and was canceling plans and not socializing just due to either stress from my work and school combined, like when I was in university and also working basically full-time at the same time. It's not easy, but it's definitely possible. And I think it just comes to like prioritizing things. Like something is always going to slip. You can't do everything you want to get done all the time. And I think it just came to a point where I had to realize that and stop expecting myself to achieve everything and, tick off everything on my to-do list every day, because that was just physically impossible. So I learned that I really need to prioritize things. So if I hadn't seen friends and I hadn't socialized for a while, that then became my priority for that weekend or my next day off work. I made plans with friends. Or if school was slipping because I had been working too much and seeing more friends, then I knew I needed to prioritize my homework. So it just kind of is learning that it ebbs and flows and not every day is going to look different. Also depending on like your energy levels, or as a woman, like where you are in your cycle and stuff like that. I just feel like my energy levels shift so much, and especially in school and work, when you have those sort of set deadlines that you have to meet, you have to be in tune with yourself and like shift around your priorities as needed. This next question says, what inspires you the most at the moment? Honestly, I think it's the people I'm meeting and the communities that I'm building in New York City. I met this girl recently. She runs a talent management agency. She runs a sort of female founders networking group. She is just kind of like this powerhouse of a woman and is finding a lot of success in what she's doing, but she's also equally so open about her mental health and about how she's taking care of herself through being a founder of multiple companies and navigating the things that come with that. Right now, I'm really inspired by women like her, and I've been to one of her events and I met some more of her community and her friends. I left that event feeling so inspired to start my own things and just see that the possibility of being a founder in my early 20s is possible. Nothing's changing, nothing's launching like anytime soon, but I'm just really leaning into like my solo app and trying to grow that because that's a huge passion project of mine. And it's only my self-limiting belief saying that it won't go anywhere and it can't grow. I'm just inspired by that and inspired by the idea that I can do these hard things and I can get to these milestones in life that maybe stereotypically you don't get to later in life. But it's just, I don't know, reminding me that there is no set path. Everyone's on their own path and reaches different things at different times. I guess I'll plug solo right now. If you are someone who enjoys going on solo dates and wants to find more solo dates and learn how to build confidence in spending time alone and basically just learn to become your own best friend, which is something I've been on a journey for the past 4 years throughout my recovery. As much as it's been eating disorder recovery, it's been just healing my relationship with myself as well. And solo dates have been such a huge part of that for me. Getting food by myself, spending time by myself, reading by myself, going to parks, going to museums, like all those types of things. Just learning to do them by myself and shut down those insecurities that pop up and negative thoughts or the judgmental thoughts has been such a key part of my mental health journey. And so I co-created an app called Solo. I'll put it right here. It's available to download on the App Store. Basically, you can use this app to connect with other users, see where they go on solo dates. You can save your favorite solo date spots. You can also search and find new solo date spots and new ideas of how to spend your time alone on this app based on like where you are in the world. And then you can also log and track your solo dates and kind of journal a bit about how they make you feel. So yeah, go download Solo if it's something that you'd be interested in, and I will also link the website down below if you want to read a little more about it and, you know, my story with Solo. So kind of branching off that question, and this will be my last question today. This question says, advice for making friends in New York City. Not being afraid to put yourself out there and not being afraid to have a conversation with a stranger or meet up with someone for coffee just through a loose sort of reference from someone else. I feel like so many of my friends have grown that way, either making a connection through Instagram, which then turns into another connection through something else, and then that turns into another connection through her and through someone else. Just being open to say yes and go grab coffee, go grab dinner, go hop on a Zoom call together and just get to know each other. Maybe that's the only interaction you ever have together and you never interact again. Or maybe they become a really close friend and someone that you see weekly, monthly. You never really know where these friendships will go, but you'll never get the chance to experience it or know if you never put yourself out there to meet these people and just be yourself around new people. I know it's so scary and I know it's so intimidating, but honestly, like that confidence only comes with doing it. You can't talk yourself into being okay with talking to strangers and having that confidence to, I don't know, just be yourself around people you don't know. Not saying that you need to like instantly trust strangers and let go of your boundaries. Like that's not what I'm saying. Like definitely honor your boundaries, honor your needs, honor your privacy, but equally be open to meeting new people and sharing what you feel comfortable, and who knows where those friendships will go. But also I think Instagram has honestly been a big source of my friendships too. Just kind of connecting with people and finding like-minded people has been really, really great. But yeah, biggest thing is just putting yourself out there, not being afraid to kind of meet someone at an event, or if you go to a similar workout class, or if you're someone at the gym, just like chat, give them a compliment and see where it goes. With that, I think I'm going to wrap up my Q&A. Thank you so much for being here. If you have more questions, please feel free to put them in the comments down below, or you can always DM me on Instagram at jenny.mini, and I'm sending so much love. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.